Well, welcome back, Merc Nation, to the Merc Method. I'm your host, as always, Eric. I apologize in advance if I sound a little hoarse or a little hard to hear. I'm dealing with, I don't know if it's allergies or a cold or whatever's going around in the universe right now, but making a podcast episode usually makes me feel better, so let's do this. I wanted to start the podcast episode today by wishing my lovely wife, Rachel, a happy birthday. Happy birthday, honey. Just wanted to let her know how amazing she is and how happy we are to continuously have her in our life. And I'm so amazed with all the things that she's been doing and growing. And if you don't know, she started her own business as an esthetician, Radiant Beauty Collective by Rach. She's online. If you're around the Rockford, Illinois area, look it up, check it out. It's amazing what she's done in a short amount of time and how many followers she has already. I'm very proud of her in all the accomplishments she has so far. And if you want to feel good while looking good and being you and showing that inner beauty as well as the outer beauty, go check her out. So I want to change things up slightly with the podcast episodes moving forward from a little help from some of my friends and their insight that really truly know me, that want to hear the raw versions and also the humoristic version of me in my episodes, as well as the learning part of it, like the teacher part of it. So I'm going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to start with this episode. I'm calling it This Is Me, and it talks about dropping the mask that we wear. Because I've been kind of learning a little bit more about myself in the last couple of weeks, actually, the last month or so. And I thought this would be a good start to do this, and I thought this would be a great topic to talk about. I've had some conversations with some people in the last couple of days, and one really stood out to me, and I'm not going to name who they are because it doesn't make any difference. It's irrelevant. However, this individual asked me what I really wanted to do with my time. And not just about the podcast or the book or the schooling or whatever, but really what motivates me and what makes me feel good on a day-to-day basis. And the thing that really stuck out to me about that was I really actually had to take a step back, and it actually got me upset. Like I cried because I never really thought about really truly gets me motivated to do something. And it's about helping people and what that looks like. And I did all this research back then on what this looked like, what schooling I needed, and blah, 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 right? But never really asked the question on what really gets me going and what makes me feel good and what fills my cup. Because what I was doing was checking boxes on what I thought other people wanted me to do and what I needed to do. And that's kind of what I've been doing forever. And after having this conversation, I realized that I don't need to do it this way. I don't need to do it a conventional way. Okay. So yesterday, I just found out that out of all my coursework and everything else for my clinical master's in counseling, I got a 4.0, which was one of my goals. So that was something that I could check the box on. But I've always thought of myself as more of a hybrid model of therapy, more like motivational type therapy instead of the classic cookie cutter idea of what people think therapy is and sitting in a room. I need to be out and about and seeing other people and talking to them everywhere because that's what happens for me anyways. I'm in the grocery store and people are talking to me. I'm having therapy sessions in Starbucks. I'm having therapy sessions in Meg's. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where I go. I could have one in the gas station. So to me, I've always been different in that way, right? I always go about things in a different perspective than most people. And usually what I used to do was understand that that is not what people think I should be doing. So then I pivot, or what I like to call chameleon, into what I'm supposed to be doing or wearing that mask. And I'm kind of tired of it now. I've kind of figured out that I don't need to wear this mask. I don't need to be what other people want me to be for me to be happy. That's not how it works. Do you ever notice, like early in life, or maybe now, like I'm just starting to notice that we learn how to perform in front of people? Even before we know who we are, we start learning how to be what other people need us to be. And that's what I was talking about earlier. I noticed what they wanted, and that's what I did. And then I started to lose really what I wanted to do because I felt that's what I needed to do. And it kind of bounces off my last episode of people pleasing, right? You do what feels good for the other person, but not for you. But this mask is so much more to it because you're losing your heart. You're losing what you set out to become to be something for somebody else. And it just grows with each job or with each partner or with each, transition or part of that path. And then we get to a point where we don't even know who we are. We're learning how to smile when we're hurting. That's when we're starting to really hide our true feelings. That's when you start to say, I'm fine. And we know we're not. We're trying to do that BS thing about trying to fit in when we're not in a place where we need to fit in. And a lot of times we stay quiet and keep those feelings aside because we don't want to mess things up, right? We try to stay useful, but stay small, but stay safe. But then again, now we're starting to mold that mask, right? And the more that we do that, the harder it is to take that mask off. But here's the thing, those masks helped us survive. They protected us at some point. They kept us loved. They kept us accepted. They kept us from being rejected or judged or abandoned from our friends. So I don't want you to hear this episode as an attack on your past self, right? We need everything that we've gone through to get to this point. Your masks weren't weakness at that point. They were wisdom. They were adaptation. You were adapting to what environment you were in at that point. They were your nervous system saying, let me help you stay safe in this space. Because you really wanted to be in there, but you didn't need to be in it. Now remember though, survival and living are two very different things. At some point in your life, you need to stop just wanting to get through the day and start wanting to be seen in it. You start wanting to feel like your life actually fits you, like your dreams belong to you and no one else's. You have your own set of behavior and thoughts and emotions that's the only thing that you have control over and nobody else's. And when you're putting on that mask and taking other people's thoughts and their behaviors and their emotions and kind of molding them into yours, you're losing yourself. Hence the mask goes up. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Your voice matters. You don't have to shrink or hide or edit yourself to just keep that peace. And that's what I've been doing for a very long time. And even if you do it like I did it, where it was little bits and pieces, I adjusted myself in the environments that I put myself in, whether it was in a job or a friend circle or anything kind of that nature, where I felt I needed to chameleon myself to fit in instead of allowing the right people to show up. And that actually gradually started to happen. But I also need to drop the mask so that I don't allow people that don't belong in the same circle to infiltrate it and stay there where they don't belong. Because if I allow that to happen, I don't know when I need to have my mask up and when I don't. I start to lose myself. I start to lose what I've built to this point, which is, of course, allowing the right people in my circle that have that positive mindset, that have my goals in interest, but also really their own goals because it's really about them. I'm just a background person in their goals, right? It's not about me. It's about them. But this is my story and it's about me. And what does that look like? And I can't see through this mask. So I'm taking it off and we'll see what happens. And that's what today's episode is about, dropping that mask I'm wearing and what you're wearing. And allowing that real self, that beautiful self, your real goals and your real dreams to be seen as well as heard. And you know what? If the people around you don't believe in that system, then those people don't need to be around you. It's that important to be in an environment that cherishes what your goals are as well as theirs. People that are positive, people that have goals in the first place, that are trying to work on them and trying to find their true self instead of them wearing masks, because then no one knows who they're talking to. Okay, but here's the truth. The version of you that's exhausted, that you can feel that right now, that resentful, anxious, numb person, that's often the version of you that's tired of pretending. Don't you feel when you get agitated because you know the facade that you're putting on, the mask you're wearing for that day is really not you? You get agitated with yourself. That's where that anxiousness, where that resentfulness, because you're resenting yourself because you know that's not you. It's the mask you're wearing for that day or for that group or for that person. And then we start to lose ourselves with each one of those times that we have that mask on. So let's talk about the cost of these masks because they're not free. When you wear a mask long enough, you start forgetting what your real face looks like. You forget what you actually like. That's the problem. That's what was happening with me. What do I actually like? What do I want to do? I molded myself to someone else or people around me, and I don't know what I look like. You forget what you actually want. You start to actually want what other people have, but that's not even what you really want in the first place. It's the same thing if people have all these things or a big house or, a lot of money. Well, that's great. They look happy. But are they actually happy? Are they wearing a mask in front of you and they're really good at not showing their true self, or they might not even know what they look like? You have to be very much aware of not adapting to somebody else's dreams and somebody else's goals because those aren't yours. Only you know what you really want. And the only way to really truly find that is to drop that mask. So, what happens when you wear this mask for so long is what happened to me. You get burnt out. It made me sick because I was pretending or being a chameleon to everyone else to show them what they wanted to see. This mask also comes with anxiety, shows up as people pleasing. It shows up as perfectionism. We don't have to be perfect. No one's perfect. And sometimes this stuff shows up as being sad, like a quiet sad, and you don't even know how to explain it. You might ask yourself, why am I doing all this and I still feel empty? A lot of people don't feel lost because they don't have direction. They feel lost because they've been living in a direction that was never truly theirs. You followed the rules, you met expectations, you showed up for everyone else. You got your attaboys, you were reliable, you were strong, you were needed. But again, somewhere in all of that crap, you disappeared. And listen, nobody else took you from you. You learned to leave yourself in order to stay connected with others. That's the mask. So why don't we just drop it, right? Sounds so easy. Oh, let's just be ourselves. Because being seen can be scary. It's very vulnerable. Showing your true self. That's why I always wore my mask. I didn't know if I was going to be accepted. I'm kind of quirky. I laugh at stupid stuff. I don't know what humor everybody has, so I kind of wait for them to show theirs first, and then I kind of roll with it. I let the room evolve before I show my true self or what version I can share with this group. Stop. That's not you. That's not me. If you're in a room and they don't like you, then you're in the wrong room. Being seen means risking rejection. Being seen by these people might not like the real you. It also means you might disappoint somebody. That's all right. I disappoint people all the time. But you know what? Most of the time, I don't even know who those people are because they don't step up to say anything. Again, no one's perfect. Being seen means you might outgrow relationships. That's okay too. Not everybody stays in your circle forever. People come into your life for a purpose and for a timing to maybe help you evolve, and then they disappear. Being seen means you might change everything. Well, that sounds scary too, but that's okay. Maybe it needs to be changed. And the nervous system hates uncertainty more than it hates unhappiness. Let me say that again. Your nervous system would rather stay in a familiar pain than walk into unfamiliar freedom. This is where I was at. Comfortable, but not really comfortable for the true me. So you stay. You perform, you keep the mask on. But your soul keeps whispering in the background. And what is it saying? It whispers in your restlessness. It whispers in your daydreams. I can do better. This isn't me. It whispers in the moments when you feel the most alive. It whispers in the moments you think there has to be more than this. Why am I putting myself through this? That's not ingratitude. That's alignment calling you home. It's telling you to move. Your true self isn't loud. It's just honest. Your true self isn't perfect. It's real. So much of the time, I was trying to be the loudest in the room instead of being the honest one because I was afraid that honesty would ruffle some feathers or not fit in. I don't really care about that now. I really don't. Your true self doesn't have to have all the answers. Your true self has the right questions. Your true self is a version of you that exists when no one is watching. That's when your true self comes out. When you're alone, maybe having coffee, watching a movie. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? It's not like you want to be alone, but your mask doesn't have to be worn. That's the version of you that laughs differently, talks differently, thinks differently, dreams differently. Here's the crazy wild part about it. The world doesn't need another version of you that fits in. It needs a version of you that stands out because it's authentic. Do you think that I wanted to do this podcast to fit in? Do you think I wanted to write a book about being kind to fit in? I wanted to have all of this for you guys to understand that you don't have to be somebody else to be noticed, to matter. There are other people that feel the exact same way, and they need a voice. You don't owe the world a performance. You owe yourself a life. Before you drop the mask with other people, you have to take it off for you. And that means asking some uncomfortable, powerful questions to yourself. Where am I pretending? Where's the mask on the most? Where am I shrinking myself? Where am I saying yes when my soul is screaming to me no? Where am I living someone else's expectations instead of my own values? And then listen to these questions. These questions aren't meant to shame you, they're meant to wake you up. Because you can't change what you don't admit. That's why I admitted it before. I'm a people pleaser. I have a mask on all the time because sometimes I'm afraid that people are going to judge. And you know what? I don't care. Let them judge. Because if they're judging me, they're judging themselves. It starts with you. Your goals and your dreams cannot survive in this setting. They need the space and the honesty, and they need permission to show up. A lot of people don't fail at their dreams, they abandon them quietly to stay comfortable. I almost had that happen. Not anymore. You don't stop dreaming because you're lazy. You stop dreaming because you're afraid of what it would cost you socially, emotionally, and rationally. But what is it already costing you to not dream? Do you feel stuck? I bet you do. It's costing you your joy and your purpose. Your dreams aren't distractions, they're directions. And dropping the mask doesn't mean you walk into work tomorrow and emotionally unload on everybody. I know a couple of people that laughed at that. I laughed at that because I know who those people are. But it means you start telling the truth in small, safe, grounded ways. It means saying how you actually feel and saying what you actually want. This was one of the things that I learned when I was talking to this individual that I talked about in the very beginning of this episode. Saying no without over explaining. You don't have to justify your reasoning, your dreams, what you want to do. You don't have to explain it to people. I do that constantly because I'm so passionate about the things I want. I want to make sure that you truly understand what I'm talking about. If I have to do that, then you weren't understanding me in the first place. Here's something you might need to hear, okay? Not everyone is meant to know the real you. Some people only know the masked version of you, and they're comfortable with that. They benefit from that. They rely on that. When you take the mask off, some people won't recognize you anymore, and that's okay. Because the people who are meant for you to be real will finally be able to find you. That's what happened. I started being more real to myself, especially with this podcast, and I've found so many people, and I'm so thankful for that. You don't lose people when you become yourself. You lose people who were only connected to who you pretended to be. Let them go. It's okay. So today I want to leave you with this. You are allowed to be seen, to change, to want more for yourself. You don't have to audition in your own life. Drop the mask. Let your voice be heard. Let your dreams breathe finally for the first time. Let your real self walk into the room. Be proud of who you are. Because the world doesn't need another edited version of you. It needs you. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel good about this episode today. Felt I got a lot of stuff off my chest, and hopefully that hits home with you and helps you find your true self and to drop that mask, to show that beauty. And real quick before I leave, I want to just thank everybody who's continuing to buy the Merck Method book that's out now on Amazon. We've hit some good sales already in the first couple of days. And if you haven't gotten it yet, if you want to go check that out, I'm going to be biased. I think it's pretty good. And if you have bought it and you have read it, if you want to go, rate it on Amazon, that'd be amazing too, because I want it to help other people as well. The same with the podcast. It really truly helps that it comes from you guys. It's word of mouth. That it's making a difference for you guys, and that makes a difference for me. So as I leave you always, I always leave you with this. Stay grounded. Stay kind to yourself. And remember, strength begins with honesty. Till next time.